Hello everyone, glad to be back with you. Happy New Year. This is an ongoing series in regards to specific countries selecting the Xs and even Quant. And from time to time, we'll even include things like Hedera and some of the other ones related to ISO. So smash that like if you haven't done so already. I'm glad to be back with you. Let's jump into the material and present what matters. Now, disclaimer. Are you the one that's going to dismiss everything based off a thumbnail? Again, consider sticking to the end of the outline. Why so? Because I always try to confirm everything with you guys with actual research. So again, let's just jump right into it. It is this gentleman. It's Shin'Ichiro Matsuo, research professor of computer science. He's over at Georgetown University. He is a research scientist in cryptography and information security. He's working on maturing blockchain tech from the academia side, and he presents research results on blockchain security. Of course, over at Georgetown, he's co-directing a thing referred to as Cyber Smart Research Center. It's led multidisciplinary research among technology, economy, law, and regulation. Again, the call to action from Gilbert Verdin. He said it would come, and if anything, in 2025. This guy is now acting co-chair of Blockchain Governance Initiative Network, which is called BGIN, where he is the multi-stakeholder in a discussion body for blockchain tech and governance. But he also followed, or I should say founded, Be Safe Network. It is a neutral international research test network for blockchain to promote applied academic research in blockchain tech. And they work, internationally speaking, with 27 international universities and acts as the same role as NSF Net for the internet. Now, as I get further down, look what it says in regards to being a founder of BASE, Blockchain Academic Synergized Environment. It's an alliance with the University of Tokyo and Kyoto University. This gets even better because when you get more into it, you see here he serves as the leader of security standardization project of blockchain ISO TC 307, the Quant Network Standard, and he previously served as the head of Japanese national body ISO IEC JTC1. And how many times have we talked about these particular things? He's also part of the member, or being a member, I should say, of an advisory board of cryptographic technology for the Japanese government. Gets more impressive. He's interested, obviously, in permissionless blockchain. Quant Network does quite the specialization in that. Cryptography, privacy, but the right side, his education, is absolutely robust. He's got a PhD from the Tokyo Institute of Technology in regards to computer science back in 2003. He went to Meng, which is in computer science, 1996, Tokyo Institute of Technology, excuse me, he received his Meng. And a Bang, which is, I know it's kind of interesting terminology, in computer science back in 1994, again, from the Tokyo Institute of Technology. All right, getting more into this, or why I want to point some of this out, because I'm telling you flat out, I have an absolute bombshell for you all. You've got to be willing to stick around for it. This thing is referred to as garage.co.jp. Digital Garage basically has support for scaling BTC, Bitcoin. And this dates back, of course, for 2015 and 2018, but it's an international conference, and it's been regularly held, of course, even dating back to 2015. Now, what's interesting is when you get into this, is the whole thing of Japan's role. Because like it says, Digital Garage believes in hosting scaling Bitcoin in Japan and will hold great significance. All right, how do we tie in some of the things that we talked about? Well, interesting to see this because if you go over to garage.co.jp, you see here DG FinTech Shift, the integration of payments, data, and technology. It's a group that has a strategic approach that combines the Digital Garage Group's three largest assets in Japan, which are payment platform, media business, and global startup investment business, based on the purpose of designing new context for a sustainable society, of course, with technology. Now, a little bit more about this guy before we get into all the other things like XRP XLM XDC. Shin'Ichiro Matsuo, Georgetown University, and BGIN, professor and acting co-chair. Look what it says here for a moment. He's part of quite a few things, but he's also part of program committees on blockchain tech information security, IEEE, SMB, and cryptocurrencies and blockchain technology security. But look what it says. It's the others. And again, scaling Bitcoin in 2018. He serves as the leader of standardization project ISO TR 23576 on blockchain security over at ISO TC 307 Quant Network Standard. All right. Well, he's done a lot, even dating back to the early days of BTC. Now check this out. It gets kind of interesting to say the least, because when you get more into this, you will see from this source, a bgin.discourse.group, it's an announcement. 17 days ago, announcement of ISO category, a liaison relationship with BGIN. It has been approved. Again, these are things that fly under the radar, everybody. But it says, Dear BGIN members, from the gentleman that we were just talking about, we are pleased to announce that today we received confirmation from basically the ISO regarding the approval of a Category A liaison relationship between who? The Quant Network Standard of ISO TC 307 and, of course, BGIN, which is the Blockchain Governance Initiative network. This represents a significant milestone for BGIN and the blockchain community as a whole. It's a liaison relationship that allows BGIN to contribute its ISO standards to ISO as an official ISO standard but BGIN standards are recognized as global standards, so that's significant. Being incorporated into ISO international standards, it will make it easier for government agencies, and look what it says, government agencies, to formally reference them. This is a vital step in bringing the gap, or I should say bridging the gap, between blockchain engineers, industry stakeholders, and government entities, fostering alignment, collaboration across the sectors. Again, Gilbert Verdin's call to action basically calls for people like this guy who is well connected. All right, so what else do we have? Well, again, roadmap. Well, as you see here, further discussions on the roadmap toward ISO standardization, and of course, this upcoming BGIN Block 12 meeting scheduled for March 2nd and 3rd. Right about roughly 7 to 8 days before this next event coming up in regards to what you saw with FedWire and ISO 222. So if you go to bgin.io, the thing that it mentions, front row center, redefining how services are delivered for blockchain. If you're not aware of it, BGIN is a blockchain infrastructure company focusing on altcoins. Well, we're into altcoins. This is why I'm bringing it to you. And meetings, or I should say meeting the growing demand for scalable, cost-effective digital infrastructure solutions for highly specialized computing needs in North America. Omaha, Nebraska, right? 68110 USA. So interesting to see that as well, right? Absolutely, because it says the United States. Written evidence submitted by the British Standards Institute to the Treasury Select Committee inquiring on digital currencies. It was a submission by the BSI, but the BSI is British Standards Institution, and it makes the submission as the national standards body of the UK. BSI is a public function in support of the UK economy. They bring together stakeholders, and like it says, government, industry, and consumers to facilitate the development of what good looks like. And of course, lots of mentions in regards to ISO. You can get more into it. But here's the cool thing about this. When we drop it down, look what it says. How are governments and regulators in other countries approaching digital currencies, and what lessons has the UK learned from all of it from overseas? And like you see here, it says there's a range of standardization initiatives, and it includes, for example, some of the popular ones. Hyperledger, Interledger, basically that's your XRPs. And remember how we talked about ITU not that long ago? But it says, notably, the ISO Technical Committee of TC 307, the Quant Network Standard, was set up in 2016 and tasked with examination, standardization issues related to DLT. Here's some of the official people. Enter in this lady, Kyoeng He Ho. This comes from the citation of blockchain.ieee.org conferences, Asia Pacific Virtual Summit. If you're wanting to look this up, you would find out roughly halfway down on the page that Miss Kyoeng He Ho is the CEO of TCA Services, an industry academia collaborative professor at Dankook University. And look what it says, 20 plus years of experience. She is the co-rapporteur of ITUT. And look what it also says, study group 17, Q14, quote, security aspects of distributed ledger technologies, project leader of IS 23257, blockchain DLT, reference architecture, and boom, boil it, mash it, stick in a stew. Once again, ISO TC 307, the Quant network standard, and she's also the technical board member of IEEE, BDL, blockchain, and DLT. She has a robust history, everybody, and this definitely includes something that's worth pointing out in regards to blockchain policy and even the developments in South Korea. More importantly, the Korean government's blockchain policy is a living strategy that's been developed, of course, since 2018. If you've been studying Quant, you understand how they stood out in 2018, but the bottom line is their government, the Korean government's blockchain policy and public-private implementation progress that have been affected by the drive and her leading the charge for South Korea. If you're not aware of it, some of you guys are, some of you aren't, but I think this flew past a lot of people's heads. Impel adds Bitcoin to ISO 222 financial messaging on XDC network. Now, we are talking about BTC, and I will come back in the frame to talk about this for just a brief bit. Why? Well, because I want you guys to understand this. I hold BSV, and I would love to see, of course, BSV be selected as far as being the one that's going to do 1 million plus TPS, you know, Terranode and things like that. But basically, it's like this. I want you guys to understand that there will be a period before, let's face it, if and when that happens. But what about when we talk about the trust? BTC, whether we like it or not, definitely does have the trust. So the thing is this, ISO 222 messaging on XDC network, well, we've had examples in the past in regards to ISO 222 would be selected, or I should say the collateral would be XDC. Well, what about BTC part of the mix? In my opinion, this is an absolute bombshell. How so? Well, it's basically like this. Let's jump down to this. It's Impel's role with ISO 222 and even XDC. New cross-chain interoperability via WAN bridge provides more robust options for instant settlement. Think about this, everybody. Instant settlement. Again, I'm coming back in the frame. Because you can't do instant settlement for BTC. It moves 2 to 7, TPS. At least you can on the layer 1. Maybe you can on the layer 2. But is that the case with ISO 222? Again, this gets interesting. So as you see, Impel, at least then, announced that BTC had been added to that list. And having the whole thing of API as a collateral or option, I should say, for collateral making, for payments. In addition, this enables BTC to be used in instant settlement process for traditional banking services and other organizations that utilize the ISO 222 messaging standard. So we see what's coming here on the near horizon, everybody, when it comes to all this. But again, where do we have this role? And how is it all going to happen? And would XDC definitely be the one that would stand out? I think the answer is yes. Now, getting further into this, it's the whole idea that the technology in itself lies in the broad range of techniques that allow different blockchains to communicate with each other. Again, think about that. Transfer digital assets and data between one blockchain and another is referenced as cross-chain compatibility. Interoperable bridges play a crucial role in providing that. So, where do we go from here? Does it mention XDC? It does. Through this collaboration with Demo and WANchain, and again, pay attention to WANchain, Impel's user base can move BTC from its native network to the XDC network as a wrapped digital asset called XBTC, referred to as an XRC20 token. That sounds crazy, right? But both Demo and WANchain aim to make the blockchain ecosystem completely interoperable, one bridge at a time. So again, when we talk about one bridge at a time, and we talk about one ledger, well, what about one shared ledger? We see this bridge between the Bitcoin and XDC networks as an important step in creating real-world interoperability in the blockchain ecosystem. My goodness. So true DeFi is interoperable. All right. Here is what's crucial. If we go to, I know, sounds doom and gloom, the World Economic Forum. They have a PDF about the WES framework for blockchain interoperability. It's from page 20 of 26 from this PDF. Okay? Remember how many times we talked about Deloitte hosting the whole thing of the RSN, Regulated Settlement Network, and how many times have we seen them with the RLN? How many times have we seen Quant with both the RSN, the RLN, and even other big players are part of that, right? You have like Hedera, you have your Stellars, you have your XDCs. All these ones are part of ISO. But Deloitte hosted it, did they not? Check this out. How do you say Quant without saying Quant? Shout out to Channing. Look what it says. Deloitte used the smart contract chain code of Hyperledger Fabric to trigger payment at the Ethereum network upon the change of title of the securities. The seller first receives a secret from the SGX service or server to lock the securities on Hyperledger Fabric. How many times do we see all the upgrades for interoperability with Hyperledger from Quant? So this in turn validates the ownership of the securities against the seller. The XGX server then issues another secret to the buyer to lock their payment on Ethereum. And the event trigger smart contract will exchange these two secrets between seller and buyer simultaneously so they can unlock and receive the payment and securities respectively. Intermediaries, such as custodians, traditionally required to mitigate counterparty risk. Look at this. The design requires interoperability between the two most widely adopted permission and permissionless blockchain platforms. And Deloitte has proven that they can be tightly integrated through smart contracts. In fact, Ethereum Pantheon client has already become part of a Hyperledger solution named Besu, supporting several consensus algorithms. So again, think about that terminology and think about where Quant is in regards to the overledger. And of course, they recognize everything about the API gateway. Again, for me, this spelled out Quant literally 4 years ago before the overledger was fully a thing. While Bitcoin, BTC, does have some basic smart contract functionality, it is not considered a robust enough for complex cross-border payments or real-time gross settlements like functionality on its native blockchain. For these features, most developers would look to other blockchains like Ethereum, which have more advanced smart contract capabilities, or at least then. I'm not a fan of Bitcoin Lightning Network, neither is Elon Musk. But again, what would be the other solution? Layer 2s. So they're always focusing on layer 2s. But again, wasn't Bitcoin originally designed to keep it as a peer-to-peer cash system in that layer 1? Right. And you see the XDC would be the answer for that layer 1. That's game changer. All right, look at this for a second. Back to the whole thing of INAPA. Constant references to what? A unified ledger with regulated liability networks presentation. Boom. Alex Chirac. Quant. How many times are we going to see it again? And you see them right down there. You see overledger environment. You see the technology XRP. And you also see Bitcoin. And then even getting more into it from the private blockchain networks, because I mean, you can't buy a token, like Hyperledger doesn't have an official coin or token, but they have their own private blockchain network. You see Hyperledger Besu, you see Hyperledger Fabric, you see the technology used, whether it's on Ethereum or the Quant sandbox. So that's crucial. All right, a tad bit more about this. What about XDC? You see that Quant network has EVM compatible with them. And we've shown demos in the past in that regard. All right, look at this for a second to confirm it all. Japan, like it says, is on the verge of a significant banking transformation, as almost 80% of the country's banks are looking forward, I should say, to adopting XRP into the system in 2025. We're in 2025. So it's safe to say that when we see statements like this, yeah, this is big. How is it big? Well, this is cited from cryptotimes.io, but there's numerous other references where you can pull this up. It talks about potential shift in supporting the whole thing of the Japanese financial sector. Yoshitaka Kitao is the CEO of SBI Group. How many times have you seen SBI Japan, SBI with XDC, SBI with, for example, Ripple? How many times have you seen even SBI with Quant network? And again, you can look some of this up. But again, Kyoto noted the increased adoption of Ripple, use of XRP. So that's big in itself for XRP. And getting more into it, What about Japan and Korea? This is South Korea. Well, they had this thing that was designed to provide support for a range of robust initiatives to foster innovation on the XRP ledger in both countries. This is cited from payments.com, PYMNTS.com. And like you see here, Japan and Korea will integrate the use of the XRP ledger to support local events involving XRP ledger communities, grants, and of course, so on and so forth, right? Again, tens of millions of dollars with this particular fund, but again, Korea and Japan's stance, okay? Well, BNY Mellon's huge, right? Well, here's the thing. As I got more into it, I said to myself, what is their position with SWIFT and, of course, the whole thing on ISO 222? On a basic search, looking ahead, the journey towards full ISO 222 adoption is ongoing, with more milestones still to come. BNY is participating in industry discussions, preparing for upcoming mandatory initiatives and ensuring seamless transitions for their clients, as should all members of the community. The payments is evolving, and we're committed to be at the forefront, says BNY. And look what it says, ISO 222. So I take you further into this. What about Ripple's position? Well, Ripple will play a key role in creating real world wealth. Of course, hopefully we get all wealthy off of that. But look what it says. Institutional interest remains strong. BNY Mellon's asset servicing division, known as services like fund accounting and global custody, will benefit from Ripple's blockchain technology. My goodness. As I take you to this, here's a screenshot. And interesting to see, BNY Mellon, through this particular PDF that's referred to as information classification and confidential, you see from the source originally from startupmanagement.org, BNY Mellon labels Ripple and Stellar as a quote-unquote special infrastructure and base protocol. Special architecture? Wow, that's pretty cool. As I take you more into this, what about Stellar and Korea? Great question. Because as we know, when it comes to Stellar, if we go to crypto.marketswiki.com, it's the whole thing about them and IBM Worldwire. And as I show you this, it talks about that dating back to 2018, you see IBM Worldwire, and you see the whole thing of them partnering with Stellar. But again, I want you guys to understand where it went from here. And where it went from here is what you see in regards to this key area right here. And that is Korea. Shout out to this person, Scopuly, Scopuli, Stellar Wallet. South Korea's crypto trading hits new highs. Retail crypto trading in South Korea soared to an astonishing $8 billion in the last 24 hours. Surpassing the country's stock market volume by 22%. Some people feel as though that when it comes to, tokenization and crypto, that's not going to outdo stocks. It already is. And thank you, Scopuli, for following me. I'll give you a follow back. I didn't realize this platform was following me. That's pretty cool. How the lumens may prove less popular than stablecoins, right? But lumens, never forget about, your XLM will still be used for transaction fees, as previously noted by IBM's Just One. Similar, everybody, to what you see with Ethereum, right? If you use an ERC20 smart contract, whether it's for a meme coin or whatever the case be, you have to have native ETH to purchase, or I should say pay for those gas fees, right? So that creates demand moving forward for XLM, because how many times worldwide have you seen so many companies referencing Circle USDC, which was formerly known as Stellar USDC? Never forget about that, because that is the utility. And like it says here, plain as day, lumens will be used for transaction fees. Noted by IBM, 6 international banks have signed letters of intent to issue other cryptocurrency stablecoins for Euro, Indonesia Rupiah, if I pronounce that right, Philippine Peso, and even the Korean Won. And you see here, these banks include Bank Busan of Korea. So it's safe to say they selected Stellar. People, just need to get more into it and find out where this comes from. All right, here, check this out. Bank Busan is one of several banks that signed a letter of intent. So it's not just me saying it, everybody. To use IBM's blockchain Worldwire, BWW, to issue fiat-based stablecoins. BWW is a payment network that allows banks to use Stellar native cryptocurrency XLM for those transactions between fiat currencies for the gas. All right, look into this a little bit more. This is really something else. What is a prominent digital wallet in South Korea? It's called Kakao Pay. Kakao Pay is a mobile wallet run by Kakao Corporation. It is one of South Korea's most prominent online platforms. All right, why is this important? Well, dating back to October 30th, which app is most used in South Korea? Says that in South Korea, almost every person with access to the internet and a suitable device is using Kakao Talk. It is a domestic thing that's used, of course, in South Korea, but like it says, in 2024 alone, domestic users numbers amounted to almost 49 million active users. And of course, that's from October 30th. Now, here's the significance. This is a bombshell, in my opinion. Look at this. Here's your boil it, mash it, stick in the stew moment. Because Overledger can make an API call to this thing called Sol API. Sol API sends a message to Kakao ALM Talk. See how we mentioned Kakao? And kicks it down to Overledger to prepare a smart contract transaction. Then Overledger sends a text message to Sol API. This Sol API kicks it down to call for an ISO code. So we're going to convert that to a country code, to country name. And as you see here, this code must be between 2 and 3 characters long. But this is the code for Korea. Okay? So how does this work? Then we make an API, we kick it to Overledger to read from a smart contract. Then we connect it to Sol API to make an API call. And then to Quant's Overledger to sign that transaction. My goodness. So there's where it's at. In my opinion, with the evidence and the research to support what I'm basically talking about, it's plain as day that Japan and South Korea select the Xs, XRP XLM XDC, and of course Quant. But that whole thing of where Quant's at, and especially XDC, would drive incredible demand for the XDC token, or I should say coin, because they have their own blockchain. Key dates, call it buy the rumor, sell the news, but it's clear as day that when we get this mandate going, everybody's wondering, BTC, you can't do instant payments for real-time gross settlements with smart contracts, right? It moves too slow. XDC is that solution. My God. So with that said, there you have it. Simply do me a favor if you listen to the entire outline and type this into the comments. And that is Kakao, as in Kakao. And I'll know that you listened to the entire outline. I really appreciate you guys listening to these outlines. As the saying goes, know what you have, know why you hold it. The research trumps FUD 110%, especially going into 2025. I won't keep you any further. Thanks again for watching. May you all have a blessed rest of your day. We'll see you on the next one.
If managing your crypto feels like solving a puzzle, it's time to switch to Decent Wallet. So just a few taps, you can manage, track, and secure your crypto with unmatched ease. And here's the best part. Grab your Decent Wallet at a discounted price by using the referral link below. Don't miss out on making your crypto experience smoother and more secure.